Are you ready to publish your book, but you are unsure about the process? From formatting and cover design to ISBNs, barcodes, printing options, today's episode is your ultimate guide to getting your book from manuscript to marketplace. My guest is an expert in book preparation, printing, and distribution, and she's here to break it all down. No confusion, no overwhelm. So, if you're a writer looking to publish, this episode is a must listen. You may want to take some notes. Welcome to the Minute Mastery Podcast, a place where busy authors and entrepreneurs create time for what truly matters. I'm your host, Ngozi Edema, a time management coach, writer, and entrepreneur. Here you are encouraged to turn your minutes into milestones and to create at least 1 hour a day to work on your goals without feeling overwhelmed. And since you are here, hey, mamas and papas in the house, are you looking for the next storybook for your little one? Step into the world of Princess Sanzu, the sunflower princess, admired and loved by all the other flowers. Dang, what happened to Princess Sanzu? Immerse yourself in this captivating story that will tug at your heartstring and leave you longing for a world where empathy and understanding prevail. Witness the consequences of the princess' arrogance and follow her path to redemption as she learns the value of humility and the power of embracing others with open arms. Within the pages of The Proud Sunflower, you will encounter what real beauty is. Through the vivid storytelling and powerful illustrations, The Proud Sunflower serves as a gentle reminder that we all need to stand on the shoulders of others to succeed. So, read this story with your little one and let it illuminate the universal language of empathy, forgiveness, and personal growth. The Proud Sunflower is a top book on parenting, morals, and responsibility, and is available in the Kindle store and paperback formats. Excellent for beginner readers. Click in the link in this episode show notes to order yours today. And check out my other storybooks to read with your kids or gift a child a storybook. You will find the links in the description box on YouTube and this episode's webpage. Michele DeFilippo has more than 50 years experience in book publishing. Her company, 1106 Design, makes it easy for authors to release top quality book, keep control of it, and earn money every time they sell. So, if you are currently considering the self-publishing route, get ready to take notes, get inspired, and start moving. Welcome to the Minute Mastering, Michele.
Thank you so much, Ngozi. It's a pleasure to be here. Your book sounds wonderful. Reading is so important for little ones. I have a granddaughter, and yes, it opens up a whole world for them. And of course, teaching morals and responsibility and all of that is of course necessary too.
Thank you very much. So, self-publishing routes is something that has been around since 2007 when Amazon first started the Kindle publishing platform, and it has opened up tremendous opportunities for authors who want to go the self-publishing routes. But many people who are starting out do not even understand what this process is all about. They've heard about self-publishing, but they don't know what it's all about. Today, we want to tear the curtain down and go behind the scenes, so to speak, and find out what it is. We are hoping that you're going to help us with that. So let's start with the book preparation process. What are the key steps an author need to take before they publish a book?
Okay, well, this is my favorite subject, as you might imagine. I've been involved in self-publishing since it started. I think it was more around 2001 or so when Amazon made it possible for anyone to upload a book and make it available to the public. Before that, we only had traditional publishers, and authors had to work with a publisher in order to get any kind of distribution. So Amazon truly was an earthquake in the publishing industry, in that now it opened up all of those opportunities for authors. Now, um, there are, of course, there's a whole process, of course, to getting a book ready for publication. And what major publishers have always done is they've hired experts to edit the manuscript, design the cover, design the interior, proofread, make an ebook, and market the book. And that with that process, with traditional publishers in charge, the author didn't have to pay anything, they didn't have to know anything, but they could be assured that the final product that they would release to the public was market ready, and it was worthy, and it was checked out, and it was beautiful and easy to read, and all of the things that you want in a book. Now, self-publishing, when it first came about, it was understood that the author was the publisher, and the author would take all of those steps to hire experts and prepare a market quality book. And then the author would reap all of the profits from that transaction, right? When a traditional publisher publishes a book, because they shouldered all of those expenses, they would keep most of the revenue from sales and pay the author a quote unquote royalty. And that was a fair business model because the publisher spent the money. The publisher deserves to get a return on its investment. Self-publishing meant that the author was making that investment and the author would get all of the return. That's also a fair business model. But
Yeah.
what's happened in the meantime, a lot of confusion has entered into the process. And now we have publishers who charge the author to produce the book and also take most of their revenue from sales when a book is sold. So that's my soapbox. Okay. That's what I want authors to understand so that they ask the right questions. And if they do decide to hire a publisher, that they find out exactly what that publisher is going to do in order to earn a share of the revenue from sales.
Thank you. So, what are common mistakes writers make when they are preparing their books?
Okay, the biggest mistake that has occurred in the business since I started is that the do-it-yourself message has become very widespread and taken hold. Too many authors are signing on to the fact that they should design their own cover, design their own interiors, do everything themselves, and then just upload files and offer the book for sale. That was never the intent of self-publishing. And just to be perfectly frank about it, if you make your book yourself without any training, without any experience, it's probably not going to be up to market standards. And that is really a problem because now people can't depend on that book being a good book. So I'm here also to say that there are still trained book designers and book formatters, as they call it now, to make that book as good as it can be. And that's what we do. We help authors with those services, but we don't take any of your revenue from sales like a so-called publisher today does.
Okay. So, how important is professional editing and formatting in the process? Because traditional publishers will help you do all of that. But now, as the author and the publisher, you have to take charge of these things. Are they really important for us to get professional editors and formatters to help us with this process?
Yes. Yes. They call it formatting now, but it's really back in the day and even still today, book typesetting, book is up, the interior pages of a book are typeset. And the typesetting process is very different from formatting. And that's also getting lost in the noise online. Book typesetters take great pains with every line, every word, every paragraph to make sure that the book text is not distracting and it's easy to read. So basically what I talk about most is self-publishing as it was originally intended, producing a good book with the help of experts, and so that the author can receive all of the net revenue from sales in return for their investment.
Thank you. So, there's a popular saying, do not judge a book by its cover. But People do judge you by the cover of your book. So, what should authors consider when designing a book cover?
Okay, yes. Cover design is actually a specialty within graphic design. It's much more complicated than general graphic design, and so many things need to be considered. The image has to be right, the colors have to be right, the typography has to be right, the composition of the cover. There's so many considerations. The book has to look like it belongs in its genre. Okay, cookbooks look different than history books, and novels look different than nonfiction books. Everything about the cover needs to look right, and that's what a trained book cover designer will do for you, while introducing creativity so that your book doesn't look like everyone else's book. So book cover design is a very tricky business. It takes a lot of work, a lot of expertise, a lot of back and forth to get everything looking just right. And the reason that that's important is because when people go and search for your book on Amazon, Amazon is not just going to show your cover. They're going to show the best-selling book covers from the
Yeah,
major publishers. So if your cover looks self-published, that's really the kiss of death. You know, people will recognize that it's not well designed. It doesn't look like the bestsellers. And they may say to themselves, I'm not going to take a risk on that book. That doesn't look quite right to me. But that's not a conscious reaction. That's all happening subliminally in about 3 seconds.
thank you. My next question is based off on there was a there was a guy who self-published, and he had 1,000 of his books printed and stored in his garage, and eventually he didn't get anyone to buy them. So, printing and distribution choices. What are the pros and the cons of print on demand versus bulk printing?
Okay, I would say that there is almost no reason anymore to print in bulk unless your business model is such that you have companies ordering a couple of thousand books at a time. Then I think bulk printing makes sense. Now, today, with print on demand, you don't have to pay for that printing until the book is actually sold. And it's all automatic. If you set up your book at kdp.com and ingramspark.com, both of those platforms will feed your book, will distribute your book to the entire world, and you don't have to pay a cent for printing until the customer has paid for that book. Now, some of the publishers in the space now will say, what we're charging you, you know, you have to order 1,000 books or something like that. But that's just completely untrue now. And you should never do that unless your particular business model has a reason for that. Because otherwise, like you said, you might get stuck with 1,000 books in your garage, and then what? Yeah.
Thank you. Amazon, KDP, IngroSpark, Smashword, I've used all of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
what factors should authors consider when choosing between these different distribution platforms?
Well, what we recommend to our clients is to use KDP to distribute to Amazon, but only Amazon, and then use Ingram Spark to distribute to the wider distribution network. They'll feed Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, libraries, other distributors, and physical bookstores. And the reason for using both platforms together, most of your sales will come from Amazon, more than likely. Amazon charges a 40% wholesale discount, which means that they pay you 60% of the cover price. And out of that 60%, you pay for the printing when the book has been sold.
Yeah.
Now, Ingram Spark charges a 55% wholesale discount because physical bookstores need that much of a margin in order to pay their bills. They have, you know, the lights and the staff and all of that, unlike Amazon. So by using both platforms together, you get the widest distribution at the lowest cost.
Thank you. So, does the distribution platform affect pricing and availability? If so, how?
Well, each book can only have one price. So if you upload let's say you decide your book is $20, and if you upload it to Amazon, you'll get, they take the 40%. Let's say the print charge is $4, you will get $8, right?
Okay.
If you upload it to Ingram Spark, then you will get less because they charge the 55% wholesale discount. But
Mhm.
and that's the key point here, because if you find yourself working with a publisher and they promise you a royalty, you're probably going to get paid $1 or $2 per book, sometimes as low as 90 cents. And that publisher is keeping the difference. And that's my message in a nutshell: is you should always understand what's happening. And you can go to KDP and Ingram Spark and you can use their calculators and find out what your compensation should be. And if that publisher is not reporting that same compensation to you, then you have a conversation you need to have with them, or else end the conversation.
Thank you.
because because they shouldn't make more money on the book than you do.
Yeah, I agree. So should self-published authors try to get their books into bookstores?
If you upload the book to Amazon, to Ingram, it will automatically be listed in the Ingram database, and that is where bookstores order books.
Okay.
So it may not be on the shelf, where that's another big lie that's being told, that your book will be the way they phrase it is your book will be available in bookstores nationwide. Some of these
Yeah.
publishers will say it that way. Well, yes, it's true in the sense that it's available because the clerk can order it from their database, but that's not what you hear, right? You hear my book is going to be on the shelf in bookstores nationwide. So there's just a play on words there that's a little bit deceiving.
Thank you. So do self-published authors need an ISBN because it's a way that the bookshops and even libraries use in identifying books, the
Yes,
ISBN. So do they need them and should they get one? And where
yes.
can they get one? Yeah.
Yes, every book that's sold in a retail environment has to have an ISBN, because that's how the book industry tracks inventory and sales, right? You might think of it as a model number for your book. So every format of your book needs its own ISBN: hardcover, softcover, ebook, and audiobook. Okay. There's an exception to that I won't get into right now. But
Okay.
that's another thing that these publishers do. They tell you they will give you a free ISBN, and what they're doing is they're giving you one of their ISBNs, which means that they're going to get the sales reports, they're going to get the deposits to their bank account, and then they're going to pay you less than you should be getting on every sale. Now, I want to be fair, because there are a few good hybrid publishers who actually participate financially in the work. For example, they may charge the author for book production, but then they'll pay for the marketing. And in that case, then the publisher is entitled to some of the revenue from sales. That's an ordinary business transaction. That's a partnership. But too many publishers in the space are charging the author for everything and also taking money on the back end from sales. And
Thank you.
that's not helpful to authors.
So what's the purpose of a barcode? And do authors really need one?
Yes. Now, you don't have to go out and buy a barcode, because a competent book designer will make your barcode for free. The barcode is what they scan at the register, right? When you check out anything, even at the grocery store. And that updates the inventory and it just records the sale. The barcode is just a pattern that contains the name of the publisher, the name of the book, and the price. And so scanning a barcode is quicker for everybody than entering all that information manually.
Thank you. So what rights should an author protect when they are publishing? Because this these days you need to know your rights so that you don't get into trouble or get others into trouble.
Well, yes, and if you take charge of your own publishing journey and you upload the files to your KDP account and your Ingram Spark account, you don't have to worry about rights. You've got them. You haven't given them to anybody else. But you got to be careful when you sign on with a publisher, because they have contracts. And those contracts cannot necessarily be in your favor. They might be purchasing the right to publish your book for, I've seen, 7 years. That's a long time. What if they don't do a good job for you? How do you escape from a contract like that? So, if you work with us, there's the only contract is for the service we provide. We never take your rights. You have all of your rights.
Thank you. So should every author officially register their copyrights? I remember my book, the Proud Sunflower, the one I just mentioned at the start of this episode. A week after it was published, it was on YouTube. Somebody read it out on YouTube with the pictures and the illustrations and everything. No permission, nothing. It was a sad thing to see. I didn't even know, and she was even ranking above me on Google.
Well, well, there's a couple of ways to look at that. Yes, you should copyright your book as soon as it's finalized and not a single word or comma is going to change. Yes. And you should go to the U.S. Copyright Office. It can be done completely online. It's very easy now. It used to be much more manual and difficult than that. Now, so now that person who read your book on YouTube, I guess it becomes a legal question then. Should she have given you attribution as the author and the publisher? Absolutely. Was she charging people? Was she making money on your book? That would be illegal. But if she's just reading a story, you could consider it promotion.
Yeah, you can look at it both ways, but
Yeah.
either way, you have to take permission from the author.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully people will. Did she read the whole book?
Yes.
Well,
That was
that might not necessarily hurt you. People might say, gee, I like that. I'm going to buy it.
okay
Now, if she was selling access to that reading, then you'd have another issue to deal with.
to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. So, are there any publishing pitfalls or scams that authors should look out for?
Yeah, and like I've actually started talking about that a little bit already. You have to be careful of anybody who makes big promises. There are publishers out there who say that they will make your book a bestseller. And, you know, what they're doing is they know how to trick Amazon's algorithm to put up a bestseller badge for about 45 minutes. And from that point on, you can claim to be a best-selling author, but it's not real. And I think that it actually makes me sad because so many people are doing that. How many times have you seen someone brag about being a best-selling author and you never heard of them? So it's kind of destroyed the meaning of a true bestseller.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so
Yeah, makes
it's
sense.
yeah, it's I I'm old-fashioned. I think if you want to say you're a best-selling author, it should be true.
It is not old fashioned. It's good. It
Yeah,
is the right thing to do. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not old fashioned to be truthful. Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you very much for coming to the show. I also wonder if my audience connects with you, what do they hope to get?
Oh, well, first of all, if you visit my website at 1106design.com, you'll find all kinds of information, including my prices. I believe in being 100% transparent about that. You can also download a free copy, a PDF of my book, which is called Publish Like the Pros. And that just gives a brief overview of the publishing process as it should be. Just a basic introduction to the steps that are needed to publish a book and why, in our opinion, it's always best that you keep control of your book and work with somebody like us. We work for you. If you hire a publisher, you're working for them. So it's always best for you to keep control of your book, in our view.
Thank you. So the best place to find you is at your website, right?
Correct. 1106design.com.
Thank you. How about, are you on social media?
Yes, we're on all the socials under the same name, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Um, I don't do Instagram. I probably should.
Yeah, well, so we'll put your website in this episode webpage.
Yes.
So thank you, Michelle, for coming to the show. And like I like I said, this is going to benefit beginner writers who are trying to publish their book. It is a scary space, and you need to be aware of potential scams and pitfalls along the way. But I like the way you have explained it all out to us. It is something, information that I wish I had when I first published in 2017. But now, people who are publishing now, they have all of this out there. reading books like what you have there would also encourage, inspire, and empower people to do the right thing when they are ready. So thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Your book is almost ready. Understanding your various options gives you control over your book's success. Take time to prepare, to protect your rights, and to choose the right distribution plan for your goals. Thanks for tuning in to the Minute Mastery Podcast. If you have found this episode helpful, please share it with an aspiring author. Every great book deserves the right launch. And remember to subscribe, to leave a review. Until next time, you are in control of your time and you've got this.